Boom. Might be a bit late to the party, but you gotta go out. You gotta have a little debrief before you go live, don't you? Don't you, people? How are we all doing? People, it's November the 21st. November the 21st. Why is that date significant? Well, it means we're 1 month away, 1 month away from the rematch. I'm going to call this, if it goes Usyk's way, the line in the sand. It might even be a line in the sand both ways. But we need someone. We're a month away from Usyk Fury 2. And we need someone to come on here to, give their 2 cents as well. I want to try and get a guest on a little bit more now. I want to try and get a guest on a little bit more. So I wanted first guest since I moved over to London, Mr. Disturb Reality, Mr. Blue Collar Sports TV. How are you, my friend? Big Delboy.
I am very good, sir. Thank you for having me as always. Shout out to the chat, all that good stuff. And yeah, let's talk some boxing, man.
Man, let's talk some boxing. So before we get in, just for those who don't know, because I have your channel pinned in the comment section, nearly at 9K subs now.
Yeah, it's been a slow grind. I've put this channel on the back burner a little bit in the last couple of years, but we upload now and again. I need to put more effort into it.
Mr. Disturb Reality. Do you know what I think is mental, right? Before we go, there are probably people who are desperate to have you on their channel with regards to the other channel. And with me and you, it's just so trivial. Oh, yeah, let's catch up, mate.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's so true. It's like, oh, yeah, it's easy. Just a quick DM. Mate, can we catch up, talk boxing? Yeah, boom, done. And there's probably people desperate to have you on their actual channel that have probably way bigger following than even I do.
Nah, it's always a pleasure coming here, man. It's always a pleasure.
Man, it's a pleasure having you. And thank you to CGB Boxing Bets. CG Boxing Bets, I should say, for the £5, man. Every little bit helps, man. That's a drink somewhere. Maybe not in London, though. Maybe up
you
north.
Might be screwed in London, mate.
Yeah, maybe up north, that's a drink, but not in London. But I appreciate it nonetheless, man. But, man, there's a reason why I have you on here. And me and you, obviously, we do kind of similar things, preview fights, news, reviews, etc. And me and you, we've been probably two of the main guys who have been quite loud in their critiques of Tyson Fury in the past. He is a month away from his fight with Alexander Usyk. Now, how often have we heard fighting for Tyson Fury a month away, 2 weeks away, and you get excited, but at the same time you don't, because this guy's track history. What do you think? We're a month away from Fury Usyk, but are we really? What do you think?
So when it comes to Tyson Fury, I am kind of in a similar boat, but my intuition does tell me that this fight will go ahead as per on the 21st of December. I could be wrong, but I am starting to now really look forward to it for a few reasons. But I think it will happen when we expect it to happen. Fingers crossed. Maybe if Tyson Fury can't shed some weight, maybe he'll get an injury, but I don't know. But yeah, I think it will happen, in all seriousness. I think it happens.
But I'm not there. I think we'll get it as well. This is not me, trying to, be or argumentative or anything like that. But it does have a weird feel to it. Tyson Fury first time around was in Morecambe. He based the training camp. He looked in good shape. He did look light. This time around, it's in Malta, and he's looking heavy. I mean, I know he's an erratic guy, but this is a bit weird.
Yeah, he is looking heavier. He's looking a bit thicker. Pause. But going into this rematch,
Davis smiled just there.
Going into this rematch, after watching the first fight, Tyson Fury had success, and when he was having success in rounds 4, 5, and 6 in particular, he was doing well. But one thing I think we may have mentioned it on our pre-fight stream. Alexander Usyk has the habit of making you work very hard, even though he may not be doing too much in terms of punching. The level changing, the feinting, the changes of angles, front foot pressure, back foot, side to side. He's constantly making you look. He's constantly making you think. He's constantly making you move. And going into that first fight, Tyson Fury's got a reputation of having a pretty good gas tank. But I was saying before that fight, he hasn't seen anybody like Usyk. Can he maintain that pace at his age, considering what he's done to his body? And in the first fight, he couldn't. For me, going into this rematch, one thing I've said from the outset is that his camp should be primarily focused on cardio and endurance. I'm not saying don't spar or anything like that. Obviously, spar, stay sharp, work on game plans. But his his camp should be centered around endurance and stamina because that's what it's. I think it's going to take that for him to beat Usyk. He can't be in the same shape he was first time around and win unless Usyk just gets chinned.
Yeah, but do you think that him coming in, like he's looking heavy, heavy? Like I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the high 270s, 280s, maybe even. Do you think that like if he comes in that sort of shape, if he tries to set a pace that Usyk doesn't want to set, do you think there's the risk that Fury is the one? Because again, Fury's not used to. Fury likes to set his own pace. He's never going to be someone who's going to throw like I'll give Ibushi 1,000 punches in a fight. Do you think there's a risk that if Fury does that and he starts off early, starts off good, fast, that it happens again, it unravels, but this time it's just because he set a pace he couldn't even sustain.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of. That's what I'd be worried about looking at him right now. He can obviously
And God,
shift weight,
his legs.
but
I mean, how were those legs? Those legs have gone through hell over the last few years.
exactly. And if he comes in heavier, I think it becomes a six-round, almost like a six-round fight for Tyson Fury, where he has to get it done in 6 rounds or significantly damage Usyk enough to where he can still win the fight if it goes long. I think coming in heavy is probably the worst. I don't necessarily think it's a great idea.
Do you think there's a happy medium though? Like in the low 260s, I thought at the weigh-in, although it was the lightest he's been since Valine, his body just didn't look right. Like it just looked like, you're lighter. We should see a little bit more definition. There was none. It's really
Maybe
weird.
yeah, maybe because it was almost like a crash course type of thing. Because when if you recall when he got cut right,
Yeah.
because a lot of people back then were saying he looked heavy and that's why it was ideal that the fight was postponed. Maybe first time around he lost it too late, too quickly, and if he's going to try and be light again, he'll do the same thing again because he looks heavy, and that could take it out of him as well. But who knows, man? I don't know what's going through his head. You never know with Tyson Fury. He could just try and say, "Fuck it, I'm going to put a bit of weight on. I'm gonna just try and outman this guy and put myself on him, put my weight on him, and just drag him somewhere horrible." But again, can he do that? Can he walk onto Usyk without getting hurt?
That's the big question. And that's the first time we've ever really seen him properly buzzed. Like he's been down, but never buzzed like that. How is he going to react going into this fight? Immediate rematch, knowing, hang on a sec, this guy didn't just drop me. Wilder dropped me, but that didn't intimidate him. But this guy actually almost had me finished. He had me hurt worse than anybody. And crucially, and no one's really talking about this, right? When is the last time Tyson Fury, had back-to-back really, truly hard camps? 3 years? 4 years?
It's been a while, yeah. I mean,
And you hear that the likes of Alan Babbage say he's had injuries, this, that, and the other. Mate, his body at 36, if it's had injuries, it can't just go straight back into a hard camp, surely, you think.
well, yeah. I mean, you would think so, right? Plus, as well, you have to factor in the bad living. I know we always say this about Fury, but usually it's always something that eventually catches up with you. And maybe this could be the combination of that, or maybe he has that one last performance in him. Because on the flip side with Usyk, one thing I'll say about Usyk that still makes me think Tyson's got a chance is that Usyk fighting at heavyweight after like the two Joshua fights, even the Chisora fight, the Dubois fight, and the first Fury fight. I've got the sense that continuously fighting at heavyweight is really taking something out of Usyk.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said himself he has to eat X amount of calories to keep the weight on. He's not naturally that heavy, according to him at least. And after every fight, he's won these fights clearly, obviously, but you can tell that physically they were hard fights, although not maybe not tactically, but physically they were all very hard fights. And that could be taking something out of him as well.
Definitely, and I remember when Usyk fought Joe Joyce as an amateur, he was only about 210, and that was a heavyweight. So you got to figure that's probably his natural walk-around weight, maybe 210, and he's just added a little bit on for, just to be up there at heavyweight. And as you say, you're getting roughed up. I know he's not really getting, but you know what I mean? Like in the clinches with these guys who are naturally 30, 40 pounds bigger, it's got to take it out of you. You got to leave these fights even with a win, not feeling the best. And you see him against Joshua in the first fight, which is that's his best performance at heavyweight. His face marked up pretty easy.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's left that fight with a win, best performance at heavyweight, but like he's shifted a bit of damage, no doubt. And that was 3 years ago. He's now 30, he'll be 37, 38 come January.
Yeah, and also
He's not a
just
young man.
and also just carrying the extra weight on his frame, and maybe doing
Hmm.
weights and things like that to try and maintain it and whatnot. I'm sure he's doing
Like
things to keep himself out of the weight that could also be having some sort of an effect.
a more extreme example would be David Head. Like a way more extreme example of someone who just ballooned himself up in weights, even for cruiserweights. But like he didn't really have tough fights. Like if you think about it, he never really had major like. Yeah, he was down in a couple of fights. Mormec was a good performance, but when did he ever really have a truly tough fight? But his body was done by 32.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Exact, just trying to get up to fight at heavyweight. The man never really took a beating. Even against Klitschko, he didn't take a beating. He was just negative, and literally his body was done. 32 years old. That's it. Career done for heavyweight. That's unheard of.
Yeah, that is mad. That's like old school settings. That is, way back in the
That is
day.
legit like old school settings. If you heard a heavyweight in the 70s, 32, he's done. Yeah, yeah, that's what happens. 32, you're thinking, oh, he's just coming into his prime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
You
there's
know?
heavyweight prospects who are like early 30s almost. Late 20s,
Does it?
early
Yeah.
30s.
So I think it's amazing. Like we're talking about Fury in a sense of like we're talking about the hard living, this, that, and the other, right? Tyson Fury, again, we don't know how he's going to look against Alexander Usyk in this rematch, but like Fury against Usyk, bear in mind, hard living, alcohol, everything, ballooning in weight, even when he was, young in his career, and he probably had more left in the tank. And I hate to laugh than Joshua did, who was the polar opposite against Daniel Dubois.
Well, yeah, that is a very good point. Yeah, I
How
mean,
does that
I
happen?
guess some people's bodies just age differently. I guess, right? There's those people in life who could be like smoking for like 70 years and live to their 90. Those
They
people
look,
exist. There's
yeah,
outliers like that.
they physically look their age, but like they can still do things that guys who don't do any of what they did can't do.
Yeah, 100%. And maybe
Yeah.
Fury's that sort of guy, which makes you wonder, like, if Fury actually lived for life, imagine how good that guy would be if he was super active and never had these breaks, etc. How good he'd be. But
That
that's
is one of
another
the big what ifs,
discussion.
isn't it?
Yeah,
That's a great what if. That's a great what if. They should do it like a series. I mean, we're talking about a series. Imagine a what if. Imagine what if Tyson Fury stayed in shape and actually didn't, have the issues that he had. Man, we could be talking about a little. We could have went from one dominant era into another. I don't necessarily think that, but it does make you wonder.
100%. Yeah, I've always wondered that. And I've said for a while, I think to a degree he's a wasted talent. To a degree. I think he could have done more with his talent, but I mean, he can right that wrong against Usyk, right? So we'll see.
Do you think if he does right that wrong against Usyk, then it's retirement or it's straight Joshua fight, which I don't like. I hate the way Eddie Hearn is mentioning that we're waiting for the winner. It's like, man, you just got ironed out in 5 rounds. You don't deserve the winner.
He doesn't deserve a winner, but if Fury wins against Usyk, I think that's what's going to happen just because of cold hard cash. That's it.
Hmm. That fight right there, is it still the biggest fight for you in boxing?
Um, it's hard to gauge what the metrics would be now. It's certainly not what it was, but I'd still very much look forward to it. I'll be honest. I'd still look forward to it. I'd still look forward to Wilder Joshua, to be honest.
So would I. I'm not gonna lie. So would
So
I.
yeah,
While they're talking about coming back, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'd watch it.
there's still
Do
a
you know?
place for it, but yeah.
It's a fight that people are interested in when Turkey Al Sheikh is still persistent. Like he was still persistent with Wilder Joshua, even after Wilder lost to Parker in a stinker of a fight. You knew damn well that if he beat Zhang, we would not have got Dubois versus Joshua. That never would have happened. It would have 100%, non-title or not, been Wilder versus Joshua, Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
100%. So when you hear like Turkey saying this is what I want, he knows he's not stupid. He knows. Now I know with some fights he can be a little bit out there with weight, like top it a new way versus Tank. But when it comes to the really big fights, he just knows that fight will sell no matter what, no matter where they are in their careers, it will sell.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I agree. And I guess there's one other option for Fury if he does beat Usyk, maybe would be Dubois because both are with Warren. They could do that, I guess. But
Is there really a? Is that a really? Look, I'd watch it, but just hearing about that fight on paper, does it pluck at your heartstrings the same way the other few fights do?
no, to be honest with you. But from
Yeah.
Frank's perspective, if Dubois were to beat Fury, like Frank knows Fury's on the way out, and if Dubois could beat Fury, then it's a big feather in his cap and big for his profile kind of thing. And he keeps the belts as well.
What I would say is, as well, if you think of it like this, if Fury does win, right, then I think Frank Warren is looking at Fury with two things. One, Joshua Fury. If that doesn't happen, Dubois versus Fury. And also, Fury will have almost all the belts. I'm sure Frank is going to say to Tyson, you don't need that WBO belt. Let's let Moses fight first. Youngest heavyweight, because there you go. That's a pay-per-view star right there if you break Tyson's record.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that'd be huge. Yeah.
So Frank will probably be
Yeah.
thinking, I've got like so much potential. I've got at least two pay-per-views, because you probably would put a Telma trying to break Tyson's record. You could probably get away with sticking that on pay-per-view. He's probably thinking, I've got at least two pay-per-views here, and then more after, depending on who the winner is.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, that could happen. If Fury wins, man, Frank's in a great position. He's in a good position anyway, but yeah, if Fury does win, he's in a great position.
He's literally got the heavyweight division apart from Usyk. So even if he loses, even if Usyk loses or wins, which I think he'll probably retire, Frank's like, well, look, my guys are all going to fight for the vacant titles anyway.
Yeah, because you'd still imagine Fury, even if he loses again, he'd still be like ranked because of his name, and he's got a Talma. He's got Dubois, obviously. He'll pull some strings.
Parker.
Parker.
He'll pull some strings. Before we kind of give our breakdown on this fight, because I think what we've been talking about is what happens next. We got to talk about the actual undercard. Mate, I don't know about you, but I actually think this is a somewhat... It's not as good as some of the other cards they've had. But as a card, I actually quite like that. I think it's a good card. I'm reading it here off BoxRec, right? Now, the first fight that's at the very, very bottom, and I know what you're going to say. I know this is one of your favorite fighters of all time. You've nothing but kind things to say about him. We'll preview this card, and the first fight BoxRec have listed is Johnny Fisher. Oh yeah, two of your favorite fighters, Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen. Thoughts on that?
I mean, if I was Johnny Fisher, and especially if I was Dave Allen, I'd be counting my lucky stars and be so grateful and thankful that I'm on this card to begin with. This is a York Hall level fight. Johnny Fisher, listen, he seems like a nice guy. He seems to train hard, takes it seriously, but he's a limited guy, right? And Dave Allen,
oh, yeah.
I've got less kind words to say about Dave Allen. I think the guy's been on some form of pay-per-view in the UK about, I think it's like 11 or 12 times.
It's a crazy
and
amount.
I don't need any digits to count the times he's actually turned up in shape.
Never.
The guy has had all these opportunities. It's not that he loses. It's not that. It's the fact that he turns up in terrible shape. I don't feel like he gives it his all. Most of his fights are pretty boring. And I'm kind of sick of the whole nice guy Dave thing. He offers nothing. He's just a durable guy with a decent chin. And even that's going now. Johnny Fisher's not great, but he'll beat Dave, you would imagine. He should.
I will big Allen up and say his YouTube channel. If he's got nothing else going, his YouTube channel is quite good.
His YouTube channel is good. He seems like a nice guy outside of boxing, but I just don't like... it's the lack of commitment to boxing over the years that's kind of got me. I was kind of hoping for a redemption story with Dave Allen to maybe win a British or something like that, but he's just not put the effort in. And I don't know. It kind of goes to show.
You do have to wonder with someone like Dave Allen, because I could 100% get it if he was on some of these big shows, but he had no, he's on some of these papers, but he had no real sponsorship. You know how it is. They don't have the names, they don't have the sponsorships, they don't have this, so they're working full time. So I could get that if he was kind of juggling boxing and work and life. He's literally able to box full time if he wanted to, and he does.
Yeah,
and that's the thing I just can't get. There's 100%, no excuse for it.
And like I said earlier, it's not about winning or losing. It's just about coming and giving it a go and giving it a real effort and giving the fans something to be happy about. It's like Gabe Rosado is a great example, or was. He's retired now, but Gabe Rosado had something like 14, 15, 16 losses in the end. He always came to fight. Nobody disliked Rosado. It's not about winning and losing. It's about the application. It's about the effort.
Derek Chisora can still get on a pay-per-view and no one will question it. And he's got 13 losses.
Exactly, yeah. 100%.
if you turn up, if you give it, like, but that's the problem. Dave Allen never done that, and I think that my only kind of hope is that now he has his YouTube channel. Maybe he's gonna not want the backlash when he starts uploading again. Because if he turns up and just does what he did against Fraser Clark, he'll get backlash 100%. So
Yeah,
maybe that's what he's thinking. Maybe we might get a slightly better, but at their best, this might really have been a competitive fight. In fact,
yeah,
actually, God knows at their best, you might have even favored Dave Allen at their actual best if everything was clicking, because Dave Allen could have took a good shot back then. But Johnny Fisher all the way in this fight.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to even envisage Dave Allen throwing a punch. It doesn't feel like, honestly, sometimes you watch him fight, it doesn't feel like he even throws punches. He's just standing
No,
there and kind of moving his head a little bit and trying to tuck up, and he'll throw one punch
hoping
around with
for
anger.
that
Yeah,
exactly. Hoping for that one golden opening that never comes up. It came up once in his whole career.
yeah, against Nick Webb. Yeah, because he was getting
Again,
plastered in that fight.
yeah, he was getting banged up in that fight, and he landed that one big shot. Nick Webb is slow as molasses. There you go. It was done.
Bro, can you imagine the scenes if he actually does that again, though?
Imagine, man, that would be holy shit. There wouldn't be the same atmosphere because that was in the O2, but oh my God, could you imagine? Man, could you imagine they did this front and center in the Copper Box where because that's the Copper Box isn't far from Romford. All the Fisher fans and something like that happened. That would have been,
Funny, yeah, let's be
mate.
honest.
Do you know something, right? I just want to CBP one, right? The best performance was probably the Lucas Brown fight. Mate, that performance told me Dave Allen was up what's creek, because Lucas Brown lost. He didn't officially lose, but he lost about 2 weeks earlier to Camille. He was down against Camille Sakalaski, and he was winning the first two rounds. I mean, you're losing rounds against Lucas Brown. You got a problem. And that was 5 years ago.
100%.
5 flipping years ago. And they did that at the O2, of all
Yeah,
places.
yeah,
Jesus Christ, that
yeah.
was tough going.
It's crazy, wasn't it? Jesus.
That was crazy. In terms of one prospect to another, one who we both actually think is going places, Atelma versus McCann. Man, I like that fight.
So do I. I think that's a perfectly good step up for Atalma. McKean's not great, but he's a relatively tall southpaw. He's like 6'5". He's always in good shape. He moves okay. Gave Hergovich a half decent fight. I know Hergovich maybe wasn't what we thought, but he's shown he's at a certain level, and certainly a level above anybody that Atalma's fought so far. I think he'll get rounds here against McCann. I expect Atalma to win. But yeah, he might get asked a couple of questions, might have to go a few rounds fighting a southpaw, a rangy southpaw, good athlete. So yeah, I mean, it's good.
Atelma's not even 20 years old yet, and he's in there with MC McKean in his 11th pro fight. That's pretty good going, all things considered. It's weird, like heavyweights over the last, say, kind of the last era, we'll call it, because I think we're kind of coming into a new one. Most of the heavyweights really hit their peak at an old age. Just seems like these heavyweights are getting younger these days. Does this bode well for the new era, or is this kind of like a Prince of the Sea kind of thing where, flame burns bright, but it burns very quickly and it's gone?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say because there are a couple of young guys now, like obviously like Atalma, like Dubois, but outside of that, there's not really many others, I don't think.
I'm thinking more along the lines of guys coming over from the amateurs. Like some of them think, because Atelma basically kind of said, I don't want, not literally, but it was kind of like, the hell with GB, the hell with the Olympics. This is what I want to do. And if more fighters would look at Atelma, do you think more are going to go like that and just say, nah, I don't need the Olympics. I want to turn pro. I want to be an Atelma.
Yeah, possibly, yeah. I mean, thing is, though, I think that's always going to happen with a guy like Frank because he's pretty good at scouting those guys before they have like majorly successful amateur careers. You know, guys like Yard, Dubois, maybe now Atalma, guys who are pretty good, but they weren't really doing crazy things as an amateur.
I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize that Dubois was he sponsored or looked after by Frank Warren while he was an amateur? None of us. I didn't even realize that.
I think I think that started when I was like 17. Yeah, something like that.
Because he was 19 when he turned pro, so it was Frank Warren spotted that real early. And whatever you think about Frank, his eye for talent is, and he's looking at that as a pro through the pro eye. He's not looking, you know, you see some amateur, look at this amateur we have, you know, he's great. He's got footwork like Loma. But, you know, you look at that and thinking, no, he's never going to be anything as a pro. Frank just obviously looks at these guys and thinks, right, pro style, how's that going to work? Going to work well.
Yeah, he is
And he
pretty
gets
good
in
at that.
there.
Yeah, he's always been pretty good at that. Like taking guys who have maybe just done well at like the ABA level, and kind of taking them. He can take them pretty far. Like even if it's just domestic level, these guys are card fillers, but sometimes he'll pick out a real talent, kind of thing, and he gets there ahead of the curve, kind of thing. You know.
And this was at a time where he picked out, I know Yard and him are having their issues, but like he picked out Dubois and Yard from kind of nowhere when Eddie Hearn was signing every GB, even if they were rejecting GB, he was signing them as if they were going to, and literally none of them have, well, they've done certain things, Acoli, what's his name, Cordina, but none of them have the kind of drawn power that a Yard or Dubois has.
True, 100%.
And they're still, and well, Yard we don't really know, but certainly with Dubois, you know, I mean, Eddie Hearn, I don't think he stopped crying since September the 21st. It's been 2 months.
Oh man, but no, you're right, man. And even a Talma soon might be of a higher profile than those guys you mentioned. Like his profile's climbing quite nicely as well.
Oh, people are knowing him. People are getting to know Talma, and he's getting a bit better. I did think early on he was a little bit shy in front of the camera. He's getting better. He's getting better in front of the camera. There's more life to him. It's not like Dubois where it's just hi, and that's it.
Yeah,
you know?
I get the difference as well. So with Dubois, it's almost like you can tell the guy's kind of shy and awkward. Whereas with Atalma, it's like, I just don't want to be here. I want to fight. It's about business. I'd rather not do this.
Basically,
it's a different kind of attitude. I kind of like Atalma's like no nonsense approach. Yeah,
it's no nonsense, seek and destroy, and I quite like it as well. And he does have a bit of charisma there as well, a little bit. I think we're looking at 2 stoppages for the 2 prospects. Then we get to kind of 2 guys that are a bit kind of in limbo in their respective careers. Lee McGregor from Scotland and Isaac Low IQ from Tyson Fury's a-hole. And literally that's where I think he's crawled out of. Officially, he's from Morecambe, I think. But, yeah.
Listen, bro, you know. I'm all for seeing Isaac Lowe getting stopped again, and I think he will do. Lee McGregor is a bit of a disappointment, to be honest, because when he turned pro, I think a lot of people in Scotland, a lot of people in Scotland felt he could replicate what Taylor did, and he looked good early on, but it's not quite worked out. Having said that, he's a much bigger puncher than Lowe. I think he's a naturally bigger dude as well. I think he'll stop Isaac Lowe. Lowe will do that little tip-tap boxing thing. He'll get drawn into a fight and he'll get stopped. That's what
basically, I agree. And I think Lee McGregor's career just went so stale. He beat Cash Farouk. He's meant to rematch him. And that rematch didn't happen. And then it just seemed like his career just went into nothing. Like literally just nothingness, which is crazy because he was a Ben Davison trained fighter. He was European champion. And it wasn't, he didn't even take him that many fights to become European champion. And now I think this is his back to, I'm here. I'm still here. Because he's not even that old. How old is Lee McGregor?
I think he's like 27, 28.
He's only young.
Yeah, he's not old.
Yeah, he's still only young. So he's got, he's going to be good. He's going to be A-okay. He's got plenty of time. But Isaac Low IQ, I mean, it pays to be mates with Tyson Fury because he just gets on these big shows at the big shows. Every time he steps up, he loses and he gets stopped. And here he is again.
Listen, it's good work if you can get it. So,
mate, it's good work if you can get it. I think he'll need to go back to his career when he finishes this as a typewriter, because that guy has some Shakespeare level poems.
He does, man. It's going to be studied in years to come.
If you can read one of his tweets and make out what he's saying, then your IQ is that's the IQ test. Never mind a paper. If you can actually make out an Isaac Lowe tweet and read it and be coherent reading it, then you've got brains.
Yeah, if you can read his tweets, you can read the hieroglyphics, man. Honestly. Jesus.
Now we can translate anything. This Friday, fight at morning, feeling we ready. Only to Isaac Lowe that makes sense.
I guess, yeah. Good old
Only
Isaac.
to Isaac Lowe that makes sense. You're going to win by KO? Yeah, I'm going to win by OK. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. Do you know something, right? And I'm not the biggest Prince Patel fan, right? But I'm not going to claim credit for it. But I've always been calling him Isaac Low IQ. And I remember him and Prince Patel had beef. And apparently he's going to fight at welterweight, Prince Patel. Yeah, the former flyweight is now stepping up to welterweight in South Africa. Amazing. But he left a tweet. Isaac Lowe, I think, got hacked a couple of months or something ago. And Isaac, basically Patel tweeted that low IQ, you can tell he got hacked because the writing is absolutely perfect. And it was someone, he got hacked over some crypto thing. And they were like telling him to invest in Bitcoin. And he said, Isaac Low IQ, you can tell this isn't him because the tweet is written to perfection. And you were like, yep, that pretty much, that's it.
See, that's what we need, you know, like, this is where Misfits should step in. I'm not a big fan of Misfits boxing, but get that fight on, Isaac Lowe versus Prince Patel. I'd be excited for it,
Oh,
actually.
man.
I'd watch it.
Man, I'd 100%, man. I can't believe he's actually going to campaign at welterweight, though. I mean, that guy's
Yeah,
Prince Patel's a little guy.
I saw that, yeah. He's fighting in, like,
Coog,
is it Cameroon or something? Or
yeah, somewhere in Africa. That's pretty much where he's been basing himself. Coogan still hates Prince Patel with a passion. It's lovely to
does
see.
he?
It's lovely to see. It really is. But I mean, I'm telling you now, that money, they could do that. I'm surprised he's fighting on Tyson Fury's undercard and they're not just going to do that fight. They should really do Patel versus Lowe on Tommy Fury's undercard. That's where it belongs.
Yeah, that'd make sense. Yeah. That'd
Make a hell of a lot more
I'd
sense.
watch it.
Make a hell of a lot more sense, man. These little dweebs, man, they'd love it. We then have another domestic dust up, but this one's a little bit more competitive and a little bit more fun. McCann versus McGrail. Thoughts on that one?
See, I really, really like this fight. McCann had his struggles against Beluta, but came up good in the rematch. Made the adjustment.
It showed how much he grew for me.
Yeah, it did.
That
yeah.
was a real, okay, he has grown as a fighter because that's an adjustment that I thought it would be competitive again, and it wasn't. So I was like, okay,
yeah, me too. I thought it'd be a hard fight as well because Beluta is like a genuine European level guy, and McCann dealt with him pretty well. McGrail, on the other hand, I've seen the guy. Oh, sorry, no, carry on.
No. I was going to say he gives everyone a hard time. So if you're not having a hard time, you prove something.
Yeah, 100%. McGrail, on the other hand, I've seen the guy's fights, and I think there's a lot of talent there. Obviously, he got knocked out by O'Quinn in a bit of an upset, but I think there's a lot of talent there. I think he's got nice feet, good footwork, good lateral movement. Kind of fights like a poor man's Lomachenko. Not saying he's as good.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, poor man. I think he's got the skills to really trouble Dennis McCann. I think he's obviously more experienced. I know he's had less fights, but he's had like a lot of amateur fights. He's seasoned. Part of me, I could see this being a close fight. I could see it going either way, but I think just purely based on form and momentum, I'll go with McCann. But it wouldn't shock me if there's an upset. It's a good fight. That's a really good fight. It wouldn't
shock me, but I do worry about Peter McGrail because he's not been tested. He's not been chin tested since that knockout loss. And I think, man, we forget that knockout loss was just no standard knockout loss, man. It was bad. Like, really bad.
Oh, yeah. He got
swept. It was particularly bad. So how good is his chin going to be following on from that? But I think McCann will win it on points. I think he'll just be a little bit too cute for him. Cute for McGrail.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. Yeah, I'd probably say the same. Probably McCann on points I think is the safe bet.
Before we go into the co-main, I'm just going to say real quick, if you haven't already, do please smash the like button. Myself and Dale, we're enjoying this show. Let's get the likes up. Because I'm going against Hatman tonight. I'm going against Hatman, so I'm not expecting, crazy numbers, but I'll still, let's get the numbers up. That's what we want. So I'd appreciate it if you could smash the like button. In terms of the co-main, man, Usyk versus Madrimov. I mean,
ooh,
damn.
That is a fight.
Arguably, both guys won their last fight.
Yeah, I felt Crawford beat Madrimov, but Madrimov did well. Usyk had a very good argument for beating Ortiz. Two knockdowns, was it? Was it two
Two
knockdowns?
knockdowns, yeah. Two
Yeah,
knockdowns.
gave Ortiz a real hard fight on the inside. Madrimov is more of a sharpshooter, very good at single punch counters. He can put his shots together as well. Strong guy. He's definitely the harder one punch guy here, but Boachuk has a very, very good work rate. Doesn't stop throwing, gets on top of you. And one thing about Madrimov, he's very muscle bound. He's very kind of jacked and bulky. And if Boachuk can go through the early rounds without getting badly hurt or whatever, second half is going to be very interesting. If neither guy gets knocked out, I think it's going to be very close. God.
It's a tough one, man.
It's a
I'm
very
stumped.
tough one. I think Madrimov is much more like he's got more natural skill, like more athleticism and whatnot, and quickness and things like that. Better reflexes, and maybe he could use that to walk Boachuk into these power punches. Oh God. I kind of think
It's a tough one,
I'm
man. It's a
leaning
really
towards
flipping tough
Madrimov.
one.
I'm leaning towards Madrimov on points, maybe controversial. I could see it being controversial either way. If anybody
So
gets
could
the
I.
stoppage, probably lean
Belichick,
towards
definitely.
Madrimov. I'd probably lean
No,
towards Madrimov.
I think really.
Yeah.
I would say I was the opposite. I was thinking if anyone can get the stoppage, it'd be Belichick.
I mean, he could because of the
That's
volume,
interesting.
especially late on. He could.
I know.
It's a great fight, man. That's a
That
brilliant fight.
man, co-main event, and you know what the problem is, right? You're gonna have people, and not in the chat, obviously. I know everyone here knows how good that is. But there will be people saying, oh, who are these guys in the co-main? It's like, mate, this is probably one of the better co-mains you could get. That's not a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you
You
look
think
at
so?
154, both of those guys are top five in my opinion. Top six certainly.
Oh, easily. No, no,
Yeah,
no, definitely top five. Definitely top
great
five. And I think
fights.
the winner of that puts himself in good shape to maybe challenge the winner of Boots Ortiz, which I think is going to happen in February. So it's really is it's a weird one with Saudi. I was always going to say it's like a winner stays on, but it's not really if you think about it, because even if you lose, a lot of the guys end up staying on anyway. If you give a
Yeah,
good account of yourself, of course.
if you put on a good show, absolutely. And 154 is a division with a lot of names. Like, there's a lot of good fights to make. Don't forget about the Russian dude, Murtazaliev. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
that's a
And
great fight for the winner.
we may see Terence Crawford, we may not. I'm thinking more likely, unfortunately, probably not. I think Crawford is kind of checked out, unless it's a Canelo fight or something like that. Unfortunately, I think that's what we're looking at. But you look at the weight division as well. I mean, you got Fundora, you got, I can struggle to pronounce that guy's name, the guy who sparked out Tim Zhu. Man, the division is stacked. And even Tim Zhu, even with that loss, he still has a lot of talent.
Yeah, 100%. He just needs a couple of rebuild fights, Tim Zhu. But yeah, there's
A lot
some
of
fun
rebuild
fights. Yeah, there's some fun fights in that division. There really is. Plus, you're gonna maybe have like you said, Ennis moving up. Yeah, there's some fights to make there. There really is.
Then we get to the main event. Now, I know we already kind of had a little bit of a discussion about this already, but me and you, I think we're both in agreement. Usyk to win this fight again.
Yeah, I'll take Usyk again. I'm not like super crazy confident, kind of like first time around when I picked Usyk. I
I
still
was going to
give him
say,
the edge. Yeah,
I was going to say, are you more confident this time than you were the first time?
probably about the same. Because I still
Really?
think it was a very hard fight for Usyk, despite all his success.
Oh, it was.
Especially, yeah, I think it was a physically like a very hard fight. And there's only
But
only
so,
so many times you can go to the well. But I'd take Usyk again. Yeah, points.
but again, we go back to what I said earlier. This is a quick turnaround, not just for Fury, for both guys. When's the last time both guys have had fights, two tough fights within the space of 6 months?
It's been a while.
I mean, it's been a long time now. It wasn't Usyk's fault. He should have fought in February against Fury. It got pushed back to May. But both guys, in terms of going from one big fight to the other, they've had longer breaks than this. This is only 6 months. Man, both guys are aging. How
Yeah.
is that going to affect both guys?
Well, maybe Usyk's done it more recently with like the World Boxing Super Series and whatnot. I know that was a long time ago though. Now, man.
10 years, man. 12, no, 11 years. But he's been, apart from his run at heavyweight, he's been more, as you say, going from one big fight. Like he did the World Boxing Super Series. Sorry, I was thinking that's the one you meant. That's been
Yeah,
six
yeah.
years. That was the one I was thinking of, the amateur one, the World Series of Boxing. When you said that, that's how long it's been, man. Um, yeah, because he went from Hook to Briadis to Gassiev, and he did that in what, a year? That's crazy when you think about it, actually.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, Saudi Arabia, they need to bring the World Boxing Super Series back. Don't know why they haven't.
Man, they actually were gonna host the original, like the original final with Groves and Smith was in Saudi, and then they were meant to originally have Gassiev versus Usyk there, and they moved it to Russia of all places. Like, imagine on neutral ground. Now we're gonna move it to one of the guys' home country, and even then, Usyk made it so flipping uncompetitive that like 120, 108 all the way.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, man, that's crazy. That tournament was such a great concept. I think it came a little too early, to be honest with you. I think it came a little too early. But
It
yeah,
was ahead of its
I'd
time,
love.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was ahead of its time. I'd love for like the Saudis to try and pick it up and try and make it happen again. That'd be amazing.
And
Like have
do you
it,
remember how?
like
Do
have it all over
you
the world.
remember how they sold it? They sold it as if like you couldn't, if you didn't take part in this tournament, you may as well be ducking the division because
Yeah,
you would get like all the good fighters in cruiserweight, like same with super middleweight. You get like all the good fighters, lamp them in, they're being well paid, and it's like, oh crap, I'm not going to take part in that, and you'd instantly be staple. You get that staple of you as, oh, you're ducking because you're not going to be able to unify because they're all locked in. You're going to just cherry pick whoever the best contender who isn't in the World Boxing Super Series. So it almost made it look like if you were a champion, you didn't partake in it, you were kind of like, oh, why not? What are you
bro, man,
afraid of?
look at the great fights that tournament gave us. Like Daenerys Inoue won, Prograis
In a way,
Taylor. Yeah, like
Taylor,
so many great fights. Dorticos versus Gassiev, Usyk Briadis. There was
CF,
so many great fights. Yeah, so many great fights those tournaments gave us. It's
the
amazing, man.
knockouts,
Yeah, the
some of the
knockouts were
knockouts
crazy.
that were there, the fights that on
Exactly.
paper look competitive, and then oh man, they were epic. Groves versus Eubank, that was a good fight.
Yeah, Groves Eubank was solid. Yeah, man, it's such a great concept. So and we had some great fights out of it.
I
Bro,
can't believe they
I
haven't
miss it.
redone it. Man, they need to. And I think that's what Turkey has talked about doing, these Saudi leagues and this, that, and the other. Nah, man, just redo the World Series of Boxing, the Muhammad Ali Trophy. Just bring that back because people
Yeah,
loved it. And
it
do you
had
remember
so much
the way
potential.
they had it as well? They made sure that like everyone was accommodated from fighter to fan. So they had it down to a T. If there was a fight on and it was in the UK, 10:30, that fight will be on. No later, no earlier, 10:30. If it was on in America, 4 a.m. UK time, that was the deal. If it won't be on any later or any earlier. 4 a.m. that bell's ringing. You don't get that
Yeah.
now.
No,
Ring
no,
time
no,
is
no.
what, 10 p.m., 11:30, then the bell rings.
Yeah, man.
That was
Some See, this is where Turkey needs to get his ear on the ground and talk to us boxing fans, man, because we'd make this shit great again. That'd be amazing.
do you
If that,
do you think
sorry.
do you think that's the problem though? Like he is making good fights. He's doing good things. But at the same time, then he does something like puts Liam Gallagher on before a main event that no one gives a flipping shit about. And people are like, we want to
Yeah,
see the main event. We don't want three songs from Oasis. We know the songs. I'm not a big Oasis fan, but we know the songs. We don't need to see them. If we wanted to see Liam Gallagher, we would have paid for his separate concert. We want to see a main event. And Turkey just does. It's like he's. How would I explain it? If you look at, like, say, WrestleMania, they have a little bit of entertainment at the start, but primarily it's just one match after another. But it's a big event, and that's how it is. Turkey is just thinking, all right, we need to do it at the end rather than the start. If you want to do big things and get fans in early, do it at the start. Don't do it at the end. People don't
I
care
agree.
by then. They just want to see the main events.
Yeah, I agree. And also, just on a side note, like the acts he's getting in are they're all like washed up. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? They're all washed up. It's like I'm not interested,
literally.
man. I'm
Like,
not. Yeah, I'm not interested.
they're either washed up or who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah,
That's
but
literally what it's like.
either one of those feelings come to my mind. Yeah, 100%.
And again, like, I know people would say, "Oh, but when you're there, it's different." Yeah, but like you're talking about what, a couple of thousand people in the arena who say, "Oh, we're happy." Then you're talking about millions at home watching, thinking, "This is shit. We don't want to do this." So you're in the minority. Doesn't matter what
I
you think. You're
think
in the minority.
I think it's one of those things. I think it's like a work in progress with like Riyadh season. I think they'll probably fine tune things as and when they go on, kind of thing, and they'll figure out what works, what doesn't. And I hope
You
we
think
do kind of see
Turkey
a
is
cutback on it.
open to criticism, though?
Well, um,
That's the problem. Because everyone thanks him, addresses him as His Excellency. Do you think that if there is warrant criticism about these shows, and it's not like we're saying they're crap around it, we're not, but you think if it's, oh, it's my idea to put, singers on before the main event, Turkey, the fans don't like it and it's not working, do you think he'd even accept that?
I mean, I don't
There,
see why not.
I,
He's going to save himself a pretty penny. I know money's not really an object, but still, like,
Well, if you think about it, that's what I mean. You people complain and say, "Oh, the cards are not as good as they were." It's like, well, how much did they pay Liam Gallagher? A couple of mil? Man, you could have easily put on another world title fight instead of
yeah,
that.
even just like a title eliminator or something or whatever it may be. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly, exactly. And one thing I will say, and I have to say it, I know some people are going to say, you know what? Apart from one show, no female fights. And even when he
Well,
does,
I
he puts them
enjoy
on
that.
real early.
Yeah,
He puts them
I
on
quite
real early.
I quite like that. If people like it, then there should be a place for it. But I'm kind of glad there's a place where it isn't really prevalent. I'll be
Man,
honest. Salute to
if
Saudi
they're gonna
Arabia.
do it, if they're gonna do it, fine, put it on early. That's what I said, and that's what they did. Because at least that way, it's like, right, now the main card, I'm good.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, I thought Eddie was trying to get away from Sky. See what I did
Nah, I
there?
seen that. I did. I seen it. I'm not gonna. Yeah,
No, no comment. Yeah, no
I
comment.
did see that clip. I did see that clip. Listen,
Fair
all I
play to
gotta
Eddie if
say
it's
is,
true.
that's just literally, yeah. I was like, holy shit, you done well there, man. I tip
Uh,
my hat off to you with that one.
yeah, I'm an Eddie critique, but I can't hate on that if it's true. But yeah,
Man, no one ever gonna hate on that. Man, Eddie Hearn, even if it's just a fling, it's like, mate, that's more than most people ever dream of.
good old
You've
Eddie.
you've you've literally you've made yourself proper famous with that. We will not critique you for that one.
Bro.
Good old Eddie. Wonder what Frank is thinking about that. Ah, oh, blimey, none of them look at me. Yep, no shit.
Oh, Frank's
Pick
probably
up the
thinking
fight sport talk.
he's been there, seen it, done it, man. Frank's an old geezer.
Nah, Kellis Sauerland's the new guy on the block for all that.
Maybe,
And actually,
maybe.
he could have, he had potential. That guy, that was wasted. He had proper banter.
Yeah, he could have been a decent lead promoter. Like, if I had my time back and I was Sky, I would use Callis Howland as my head promoter personally. But there you go.
He was a decent promoter. Well, with Sky, and we're talking about Sky Sports, obviously. With Sky, they are likely gonna have to either renegotiate Ben Shalom's contract, or Ben Shalom is going. Imagine Ben Shalom being in a position where we all thought he was going to get booted from Sky. He could be the one dictating to them the terms, because he could turn around and say, "I'm going to the zone," because they're monopolizing things now. It seems,
Yep, 100%. Yeah,
good or
I
bad.
mean, as a boxing fan in based in the UK, I'd be kind of okay with every major promoter being on one platform. It's just a lot easier for me
It is
personally, selfishly. Is it
less
good?
fights clashing.
Yeah, is it good overall to have such a monopoly like that? I mean, we'll see, I guess. But for me personally, I'd be happy with it. I mean, I'd rather see Ben Shalom just kind of vanish into the night, personally.
Oh, mate,
But
that
yeah,
guy is yeah. When he came around, there was a lot of optimism. And as soon as we heard him in one interview, we were all like, "Oh shit."
yeah, this
Yeah,
guy's
this
not it.
guy, this guy is many things, and I don't think any of them are good. Boxing promoter ain't one of them,
I just don't understand how
and
he
that's
got the
bench.
gig.
Oh,
Well, I kind of
well,
do. I've got an idea, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah. Let's not go there. Let's not go there on this bit. Let's not go there on this bit. But the one thing I will say, I do like the way he winds up Frank Warren. It is funny.
Yeah, yeah, Frank always gets
Frank
triggered, doesn't he?
bites. That's the problem with Frank. He will always bite.
Bro, he's got that money now though for lawsuits. He's swimming in it. Don't piss off
Ain't no one
Frank
wants to
right
be.
now. It's not Box Nation Frank. This is like a new Prime Frank.
Man, even on Box Nation, Frank, he was still dangerous. You wouldn't want to get on his bad side.
True that. Yeah, true.
I'm saying nothing. And Frank, you're a ledge. You're a ledge. In case you're watching, just in
Old
case.
geezer, proper old geezer.
Oh, good guy, man. We don't want to get sued. But mate, I think we've kind of done the undercard. We're both going Fury, or we're both going Usyk to beat Fury again. And final thoughts on the card as a whole, good or bad? Marks out of 10.
I think it's like solid. You know, obviously the main event speaks for itself. Bowerchuk versus Madrimov is a great co-main. I'm looking forward to Dennis McCann versus Peter McGrail, and I think the town was in a decent step-up fight. There's been stronger Saudi cards, but compared to like cards outside of Saudi, it's strong. It's pretty strong for me. I like it. Yeah, I got no real complaints.
Last thing, because Frank is going to the zone, do you think now, and Frank Warren is, he has put on good UK shows. Do you think we're going to see bigger UK shows next year? Because I will say, for one thing, for all the big fights we've had this year, apart from Frank Warren, the UK shows from Eddie Hearn and Ben Shalom have been garbage.
They have been poor.
They have been so bad.
That is one thing I would, in 2025, I would like to see some more. Not, I would like really good domestic cards. You know how like Frank does those Magnificent Seven cards, cards like that.
Yeah.
Like really good, evenly matched sort of domestic fights. Like this weekend or next weekend. It's more of a domestic level, but Sonny Edwards versus Galal Yafai. I want more of those sort of fights in the UK.
I'm looking forward to that card.
It's a good fight.
And I just think like that's one of the few cards this year that Eddie Hearn has put on that I'm actually looking forward to. That have been in the UK. Because Frank Warren has been kicking Eddie Hearn's ass up and down the UK this year for cards. And it's not just even, like Eddie Hearn could say, oh, but look at the main event. It's not just the main event on some of these Frank shows. You're looking at the undercard and you're like, there's a good fight there. There's a good fight there. And you're looking at Eddie's shows and you're like, you got the main event and then I literally don't care if I don't see the rest of the show.
By the way, just to divert a little bit, on that card in, the Galal Yafai Sonny Edwards card, apparently Callum Smith's on the undercard.
Yeah, so I heard. That was random, to say the least.
I thought he was going to retire.
So did I. And the fight's happening in Birmingham, isn't it? And Sonny Edwards has a new trainer. Maybe I'll talk a bit about that backstage, but like, what's this? His fifth or sixth trainer?
So Grant Smith. Who?
Shane McGuigan.
Shane McGuigan. Who was the guy before that? Was it Ben something Vaughan? Or am I tripping?
He had someone before Grant Smith, and then there was someone before Shane McGuigan as well.
Maybe Sonny. Let's be honest with Sonny Edwards, right? Bit of a. He doesn't strike me as the easiest person to get on with. Put it that way.
I bet Sonny Edwards in person with the cameras not rolling.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying anymore.
Yeah, he doesn't seem the easiest to get on with, and it wouldn't surprise me if he has a lot of fallouts. He kind of strikes me as that sort of guy. But listen, it's a great fight between him and Galal. Really good fight. I like that fight a lot, actually.
Saying that, Charlie Edwards' brother, I mean, he's had his fair share of trainers too. So maybe it's a bigger issue than just Charlie or than just Sonny.
Maybe it's just
who do you have, Sonny Edwards versus Kit?
Oh, Sonny, it's I've got a feeling Galal Yafai wins. I've got a feeling.
I'm actually favouring Sonny Edwards. I'm favouring Sonny Edwards. I think he'll old man him.
I can see it. My issue with Sonny is so Sonny Edwards is a guy, when he's moving, he's hard to hit when he's moving. However, in most of his fights, he's got a horrible habit of sitting on the ropes and laying on the ropes and trying to like bob and weave and roll with shots. In those moments, he gets tagged up a lot. When he's stationary and trying to slip and roll with shots, he gets hit a lot. And against a bigger dude like Galal, could wear him down. It could wear him down. Like the fight before Bam against that guy from Chile, he made hard work of that fight. Hard work.
He definitely did. And do you remember he fought, I have his box right here, Felix Alvarado. That shouldn't have been as hard as it was.
No, exactly. Again,
especially early on.
Yeah, he gives up ground way too easily. He lets his opponents come onto him and he gets tagged up, And he sustains damage. He gets cut. He marks up, And he's not a big physically strong guy either. So I could see Galal
and he doesn't
coming
have the
from
power to
behind.
keep these guys anywhere near at it.
Exactly, yeah.
I question Galalafai's, and listen, maybe it's not hereditary, I don't know, but his two brothers have absolutely no chins to speak of.
That is
That
true.
doesn't mean he won't. That doesn't mean he won't have doesn't have a good chin, but you know what I mean. And I don't think he's as big a puncher. I know he's got like or six knockouts, and I don't think he's even got that much power there. But
Yeah,
I
he's
would be
just
worried. I mean,
yeah, he's
your
not
brothers
like
get
one
knocked out by
punch guy.
jabs,
Yeah.
so that's not
Yeah, but
that
maybe
doesn't
listen,
bode
maybe
well.
maybe he's like the Vitali of the family. You know how Vlad had a bad chin, but Vitali was granite. Maybe he's got that luck going on his
Actually,
side. Like he's got
maybe
a
he
chin like a
does.
prime Golovkin. You never know.
Chin like a prime Golovkin, man. If his chin is slightly better than his brother's, he's still screwed. So he better hope it's much better than his brother's, because I know Gamal and Calify, two of them could not hold a shot to save their life, and both of them have like I think Gamal Yafai has been dropped like God knows him by non-punchers, bounced off the canvas.
Yeah, like Gavin McDonnell, I think. Yeah, 100%.
Who was the other guy? Yeah, Gavin McDonald stopped him, I think, and he couldn't punch to save his life. And Jason Cunningham was another one. He didn't. He wasn't a puncher. He looked like Adonis Stevenson in there.
Yeah, touch of death. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah,
It's
the brothers' chins were bad, really bad.
very bad. But maybe with Galal it'll be different. Maybe with Galal it'll be different.
I
But
mean, law
mate,
of
we've
averages.
done
He
just
like
under an hour. Oh, no, go on, Laura. No, we can keep going.
Yeah, no, law of averages may indicate that he might have a slightly better chin. They can't all be that bad, you know. But there you go.
Well, law of averages suggests he should have a slightly better chin, but maybe, who knows? Maybe a small percentage says it could be even worse. And then you may
Ah,
just stick a fork in him if it's even worse.
Sonny Edwards is gonna look like fucking Tommy Hearns. Yeah.
Sonny Edwards one punch, and I'm training for power. Yeah, you know, I looked at the technique, and now I'm a puncher. You can imagine him saying it like that in that voice with that stutter as well. Yeah, train for power. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just go and get knockouts now. You know, yeah. I know my technique, my trainer is. It's all good. Yeah, Sonny, brilliant, well done. In fact, actually, when's the last time Sonny Edwards had a knockout? He hasn't had a knockout or KO, TKO since 2019, 5 years.
Jesus.
It
Half a
ain't it
decade.
ain't gonna come. It ain't gonna come next week. I tell you that. It ain't gonna
I
come
don't
next
think it
week.
will. Yeah, I think if he wins, it'll be on points. Yeah.
But people, we've got nearly an hour, man. Before we finish up, one last plug for yourself, man. One last plug for yourself. Why not? How can we find you? Where can we find you? And what is it you do? We all know what you do on there. There's your channel, but boxing news, reviews, all that stuff,
Yeah, Blue
rants.
Collar Sports TV, a bit of everything on that channel, like pre-fight predictions, post-fight reviews, occasional rants, just all that
We
sort of
love the
thing.
rants.
Yeah, and if you're interested in true crime, criminal organizations, drug cartels, etc., and their goings on, check out my other channel, Disturbed Reality. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Need no invitation for that one, man. 400 plus nearly 500K.
Get in there, yeah, get in there slowly.
People, I appreciate you locking in for the live. Hope you all enjoyed it. I haven't asked, I've barely asked, but if you could, smash the like button if you could, on the way in or on the way out. Till next time, people. People, I appreciate it. Del, till next time.
Salute, man.
What the fuck?